from Susquehanna Country's largest and most highly acclaimed broadcast news organization. This is Action News. And now, for TV 12's Action News, here's Bob Buchanan, Dave Moulton, and Matt Cesney.
But the big story on Action News, a twister in the Triple Cities. Within the last hour, some severe weather has moved through our area. So severe that there are reports of a tornado touching down in Endicott. That's where Craig Wolf is right now, and he has this live update. Craig.
Matt, those reports appear to be true. One thing, though, that you might be wrong about, it appears that several tornadoes touched down here in Endicott and in Endwell. Here in the 800 block of North is where the damage was the worst. Like I said, windows blown out, trees torn down. The Schapiro Uniform Company sustained some very bad damage. The police will not let us in to see it, but I got a chance to walk over. Their main building, the roof is peeled off. A secondary building collapsed. I'm also told there were some workers in the secondary building at the time. They had to crawl out from beneath the rubble, but one of the Schapiro family members who's on the scene here told me they weren't injured.
Building toppling part of a family business. Shapiro's on North Street in Endicott experienced the worst damage.
Tornado came down, hit this building square on, and just demolished it.
When the tornado hit, this entire building collapsed, trapping 3 people underneath these steel bars. They had to crawl through the debris to get out. Many say they're lucky to be alive.
I did see the back of the building fall, and I knew there was people out there that had to crawl out.
What did you do?
Hid. The light flashes before your eyes. You don't know if you're going to get hit or anything.
Workers clean up destruction left by the tornado. These uniforms were salvaged from beneath the rubble.
I think this is what helped save them girls, because all the clothes were back there. There was enough clothes and rails back there to hold it up, just enough for them to crawl out.
Crews clear away the debris. Boards are put up to enclose the wall. Lights and electrical wires checked to make sure the building is safe. It's an around-the-clock operation until things get somewhat back to normal for the Shapiros. They say the tornado has cost them millions of dollars, but they say buildings can be replaced. A life couldn't, and they are glad no one was seriously hurt by this funnel in the sky. In Endicott, Deborah Carey, 34 Eyewitness News.
2 of the 3 trapped under that building were taken to the hospital. They all received minor injuries.
Dave Moulton and Matt Cesney.
Good evening. Tonight on Action News, hostages held in a Pennsylvania Kmart. Poverty on the rise in the United States. And the Twin Tiers relief trucks unload their supplies. But the big story on Action News, twisters race through Endicott. Eyewitnesses say it was several tornadoes that touched down and left some severe damage in the village of Endicott. Craig Wolf reports on the violent weather.
Mother Nature at her angriest. Dark, menacing funnel clouds. Out of nowhere, an apparent tornado skipped along North Street in Endicott, leaving destruction and fear in its wake. Amazingly, so far, only 6 minor injuries reported. Gigantic trees snapped in half, cascading onto houses. Fortunately, no one was home in this one. Debris strewn about, power lines twisted and tangled, and windows smashed. The roof of DiLorenzo's body shop peeled off, the cars inside reeling. Others smashed by falling cinder blocks. And a uniform company, one of its buildings reduced to a pile. Of all the reported damage, at least in Endicott and Endwell, one of the worst hit was the Schapiro Uniform Company. One of their buildings, as you can see behind me here, was reduced to rubble. Company officials tell me some employees were in this building when it collapsed.
Out of the 12 people that are normally in that part of the building, 3 crawled out once the building had collapsed.
Were they injured?
They just scraped and, a little back injury.
Cleanup crews toiled in a steady downpour to put some pieces back together. Officials say the weather made a tough task even tougher.
Well, the torrential rain that was coming down at the time, and also a little bit later on, made visibility a little bit difficult. And some of the fire department personnel made a search and rescue alongside the railroad tracks, just checking for people that might have been knocked down or blown out of the building.
After a week of helping victims of Hurricane Andrew, some Southern Tier folks now could use some help themselves. Craig Wolf, Action News, Endicott.
We had the kids up here on top of our building and we tried to get out down the stairs, and the roof blew out completely, and plaster came down on my head.
It was just like an earthquake. The building was shaking. There was a little bit of a timeout, and then all of a sudden it shook real bad again.
Cleanup crews are working hard to get the mess cleaned up. The aftermath has residents shocked at the destruction. They are thankful, though, that no serious injuries have been reported.
First of all, things are going along well. Glenn Grasso was upstairs at Endwell Rug a week ago when the roof was yanked off.
Yeah, I was upstairs with my children at the time, but we weren't hurt, fortunately.
Everybody doing all right?
Yes, they are.
Grasso says Endwell Rug is back to normal business. The scene at Schapiro's in Endicott was devastation a week ago, but they're snapping back.
The construction crews are just making some temporary passageways over to a rental piece of property next door that we transferred into our new sorting building, and it's coming along very nicely. We're extremely happy.
Schapiro says even though electricity and gas were out, they only lost about 12 hours, thanks to a lot of folks.
I just can't believe all the neighbors who came over just to help. Everyone from the whole community has been terrific.
How long before you expect to be back to normal?
Well, hopefully within the next 6 months, we will be building a new building at this location.
The secret seems to be resiliency. A resiliency even a tornado can't knock down. Greg Hoadley, News Team 40, Endicott.